For today, we're going to emulate Red Dead 1 on the ROG Ally, and we're going to be using the RPCS3 and the Zenia emulator. So RPCS3 is for the PS3 and Zenia is for Xbox. And to begin with, we're going to be using RPCS3 at 720p 30 watts and with the configs that are on the wiki. Let's see how we go. Alright, here we go. 20 to 30 FPS so far. Not surprised really, the PS3 emulation is very difficult. It is so difficult that Sony themselves can't even do it yet. I mean, they probably can, but not with the power of the PS5. Alright, here we go. Sitting at below 20 FPS. But this way, once we leave the town, it does go up into the 30s. Now, as you guys can see in the bottom left, the shaders are compiling, which will make the game run worse than normal. When the shaders are compiling, the game will stutter, and the FPS will be lower than what you would get normally. Now, you can go ahead and upscale to 1080p, but in my experience, it does run worse. I was getting 14 FPS pretty much, and out here, I was sitting at 20. So around a 10 FPS decrease from what we have now. Not really worth it. Now this does seem pretty bad, but at the same time on the PS3 itself, the game isn't a stable 30, so for some, this could be playable. Like out here we're sitting into the low 30s pretty much. The game does stutter occasionally, but it's pretty stable for the most part. So yeah, that is the first portion done. Playing on the PS3 version is pretty inconsistent, and I think for most of you, it is unplayable. Let's go and switch it up now, play with the Zenia emulator, and see how we go there. Alright, playing with Zenia now, and at 1080p, 30 watts, and with a 60 FPS patch. I mean, really, it's the uncapped frame rate, but on those systems, 60 FPS is the goal. And also with the patch, we can go ahead and mod the game, like removing the shadows, or the trees, the grass, any of that. I will try it out, but after we actually test the base game. Right, here we go. And in the town, we are sitting at 30. Look at that. So on RPCS3 we had 20 FPS here and below, but on here, it is mostly 30. Super impressive. Now Zenia isn't as polished and it can't play as many games, but Red Dead 1 does play a lot better in my experience. Alright, let's go. Let's go for a ride and see what we get once we leave. 40 FPS here. Almost 50 now. I think for the Ally though, I would cap the FPS to 30. Having it go from the low 30s up into the 40s and the 50s isn't great. The game doesn't feel great either, so I think a stable 30 is much better in this situation. And the game does look fantastic as well. It is super sharp, playing at 1080p, versus before at 720p. So, yeah, it looks great. Now, I think the PC port was leaked on the PSN store a while ago. Not sure if it's going to actually happen, but if it does, then obviously I will compare them both. Because this is obviously cheaper, right? Because on 360 it's like 10 bucks on disc, or even cheaper. But the remaster will be probably 40 or 50. So it wouldn't make much sense if you can just emulate it, you know? Let's do a mission and see how we go in there. Speak to Bonnie. I'm not a big fan of Bonnie's missions, to be honest.
You're looking much better, considering you were almost buzzard food a couple days ago.
Just like racing and doing farm activities, pretty much. It's the intro of the game, though, so it makes sense. They're just trying to teach you the mechanics. So yeah, one more time. We are sitting at 30 and above. It can fall below it occasionally, but again, for the most part, it is a stable 30. For the fun of it, let's pause it here, play 15 watts, and see how we go there. Wow, even out here, we are sitting at 30. What are you doing, dude? Get out of the way, man. Like, look at this guy, dude. Well, he's dead now, rest in peace. But yeah, 30 FPS out here doesn't mean 30 FPS in the town. I would guess we would sit at probably 20 in the town. So not great, but again, can be playable for some. But it is risky playing at 15 watts on this. Ooh, the audio. The audio is lagging. I guess crackling. Alright, here we go. We're going into a town. Let's see how we go there. The FPS should fall down, and it does. There you go, 26 there for a second. The game is stuttering like crazy here, guys. It is so choppy. And 21, 20. Yeah, like I said, 20 FPS in the towns. So yeah, on the Ally, 30 watts is a must, and ideally use a 30 FPS cap, which is its default value anyway. Let's go ahead and pause it here, guys, and go into the patch menu and actually disable the trees, the shadows, all that, and see what we can do then. Okay, I'm back into the game. I've disabled the trees, kept the shadows, and disabled some extras that will give us some extra performance. Alright, back into the town. Oh, this looks empty now without the trees. This looks weird. No trees, but the FPS though is sitting at 30 in the town at 15 watts. That's pretty surprising, to be honest. We gained 10 FPS pretty much. Not very stable, but still, from the low 20s to now sitting into the mid 20s and the high 20s, that's not bad. The game does stutter though still, so it isn't perfect. And for me, I'm playing at 30 watts with the trees active. Because again, no trees, just looks weird. And playing at 30 watts, we do see an FPS gain as well. It isn't as massive as 15 watts, but it is there. And we can hit 60 FPS now. But again, not very stable at all. So ideally, don't use the patch for the extra bonuses and the 60 FPS unlock mode. Not really worth it. Stay at 30 FPS and play at 30 watts. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Next video. See you guys there.